CCP's mother real estate-driven economy is on the verge of collapse. Food shortage has come to communist China. As debt defaults become more frequent, trust in Chinese companies' ability to pay off debt is shattered. According to several media on November 19th, the residents of Beijing's Zhuhua House community started to receive government eviction notice on November 15th. The sacred religious faith is hijacked by CCP. The godless CCP fears the people's religious faith. They won't allow any religious freedom. The segment of Xiangjiang River at Changsha was so polluted the ecosystem was in jeopardy. Recently, during their patrol at Changsha Port, volunteer environmentalists and local environmental organizations discovered that polluted water was directly discharged into the Xiangjiang River. Large areas of red fluffy pollutants stained the river surface.
向长安市负责办举报了，他们第一时间就调办了。
Shanghai found 2 additional cases of CCP-Virus in their communities with lockdown. The hospital where one of the infected persons worked at conducted hospital-wide virus testing. Shanghai reported 2 new cases of CCP-Virus. CCP trampled on human rights when they conducted compulsory large-scale virus testing and locked down the community when the patient lived in. Shanghai found 2 new cases of CCP-Virus in their communities, conducted virus testing on all residents. In the evening on November 20th, in Pudong, Shanghai, overnight, virus testing was conducted at Shanghai Tomorrow Huacheng community, which was listed as a medium-risk area. The entire community is in lockdown.
整个小区现在已经封锁状态了，所有的快递还有外卖都是放在小区门口进不去了。
A briefing on the epidemic in Shanghai. On November 21st, the Shanghai COVID Prevention News Conference was held in the Pudong District CDC Center. During the conference, Li Guohua, the Vice Mayor of Pudong District, gave an update on the close contacts of the 2 new local virus cases in Shanghai. After screening overnight, as of 8 o'clock on November 21st, we found 86 close contacts in Shanghai, of which 6 were family members. They have all been quarantined. Sample collection for the first round of virus testing has finished, and the results are all negative. During the screening, 8,120 people were sampled for virus testing. As of 8:30 on November 21st, 7,921 samples were sent for testing, of which 4,468 samples have been tested, and the results are all negative. Tianjin epidemic escalated. Large-scale nucleic acid testing and screening began. Tianjin issued a notice that all residents in Bintai New area will be tested for nucleic acid. Starting this morning, it will take 2 to 3 days to carry out the large-scale testing. Why are houses in China so expensive? We always say that our house prices are expensive in China. The reason is because of the high land prices. What is the reason for the high land price? It is because selling land is the only way for local governments to make money. All the money collected by local governments in China is mainly taxes paid by ordinary people. Now these are all national taxes, which are directly handed over to the country. Then the main source of money the local government spends is the money it gets from selling local land. Then the local government will find ways to sell the land at a high price, right? Therefore, any real estate company in the central government wants to buy a piece of land in a local area. Then a group of local people must try every means to raise the price to a sky-high price to sell. The high housing prices in China are the high prices of land sold by local governments. Just calculate the ratio of the land price to the housing price and you will understand, right? Look at each place after it is sold. The ground price of the building on that land is astronomical. For example, in Beijing, like Jinmao Mansion on Guanggu Road, the floor price per square meter is more than 40,000 yuan. In other words, after it is planned, the cost of land per square meter for each floor of the building will be converted to the cost of housing price per square meter, which is more than 40,000 yuan. Therefore, if the developer does not sell you 50,000 yuan, he will not even be able to make back his costs. Can he sell you cheaply? The epidemic situation in Tianjin has escalated. Under the dictatorship, related hospitals and communities are blocked. Police cars close the roads. Entry and exit are prohibited. The quarantined patients in Tanggu were transferred to Binghai Hospital. The video states there has already been 50 or 60 cars, with more on the way. It is not that the CCP has done a good job of preventing the epidemic, but that it has kept it a secret. Communities, villages, and markets in Luanan County, Tangshan City, Hebei Province have all been locked down. Nucleic acid testing is in progress.
三丰小区热市，领导们都在这儿呢，医务人员也到位了。
小区整个封了，都在这儿。完了。
In Zhongshan, corrupt police are checking electric vehicles. Rule the country with corruption and rule the country with police. The corrupt police violently arrested and punished the person riding the electric bicycle. The CCP's embassies abroad uttered horror in response to the Five Eyed Alliance statement concerning Hong Kong. Carrie Lam spoke in an attempt to suppress Hong Kong people through stricter epidemic prevention measures. Under the threat of national security laws, the youths of Hong Kong are not deterred. At the moment of their graduation, they fought in a unique way.
Let's start out right now with the president's path to victory here as you and the legal team see it. If you could give us just that canvas very quickly.
Well, yes, Lou. The entire election, frankly, in all the swing states should be overturned, and the legislatures should make sure that the electors are selected for Trump. And it's going to have to follow the constitutional provisions that it be decided according to the amendment. It's just
let's turn it to Smartmatic and Dominion. Are they or are they not linked?
Oh, they're definitely linked. I would call them inextricably intertwined. They have the same history from their inception. I'm sure they're trying to distance themselves from each other, but the fact is that the Dominion machines run the Softmatic software or parts of the key code of it, and that is what allows them to manipulate the votes in any way the operators choose to manipulate them. And every time there was a glitch, as they called it, or a connection to the Internet, they also violated state laws that required the machines to be certified and nothing to be changed before the votes. There are any number of legal grounds on which the use of those machines has to be stopped and the votes invalidated.
Joining us now, Candace Owens. She's founder of the Blexit Foundation, author of the New York Times bestseller, Blackout: How Black America Can Make Its Second Escape from the Democrat Plantation. Candace, great to have you with us. Give us first your impressions of where we are now in this contested election, these disputed votes, and certainly a disputed outcome.
Well, my perspective is that it's very clear that the Democrats have something to hide. They are going through great lengths and great efforts to stop recounts, and especially to stop audits above anything else. And here's my thing. If you are being honest and you are so sure that you won by millions and millions of votes, why would you stop an audit? You know, I've received threats to my home. I had the FBI call me and tell me that somebody was raising money to have me assassinated. Now, why is that? Why does the left resort to intimidation tactics if they have nothing to hide? Anything that they view as an existential threat to their party, they seek to intimidate, and they seek to do this through violence. Again, that lets you know that they have something to hide.
Why is the press not covering this? Why don't people want to get to the bottom of it? As Joe just said, what's the agenda here? I mean, I think it's interesting. The same people who are saying there's nothing here were the people who told us you could trust the Steele dossier. They're the same people who said, oh, you can trust the anonymous whistleblower, the impeachment whistleblower that none of us got to talk to, that I didn't get a chance to cross-examine, that the American people never got to evaluate, who was bringing this allegation against the president. So they're the same people who said, don't investigate, nothing to see here, even though if you go back before the election day, if I'd have told you that the Republicans are going to keep the Senate, Republicans are going to pick up 12 seats in the House of Representatives. We're going to maintain every state legislature and add one, New Hampshire, to that list. And the president of the United States is going to get 10 million more votes than he got 4 years ago, but he's not going to win. You just said there is no way that's going to happen. But that's exactly what played out. And that's why there are 73 million Americans who instinctively understand something doesn't feel right here. And now you got all these affidavits, you got all these irregularities. Just yesterday in Georgia, they found 5,000 votes that had never been counted, and the election was 2.5 weeks ago. So all we're saying is, let's just check it all out. We got 25 more days till the Electoral College meets. You know, they spent 4 years on the Russia hoax. Why can't we spend 4 weeks figuring out if, in fact, some of these allegations, if, in fact, they're true? And it sure looks like there's some evidence to support many of them. So let's let it play out. Let's get to the bottom of it for the good of the American people and the good of our elections.
Well, China has come up with a list of 14 things that we've done wrong in Australia. When I heard about this earlier today, I said, I bet number 13 is, asking for an inquiry into the origins of the coronavirus. And much to my astonishment, or not to my astonishment, yes, number 13 is indeed tucked right down there at the bottom, as if, oh, yes, that just happens to be an incidental thing. Australia's call for an inquiry into the origins of the coronavirus, which is clearly what this is all about. James, you've written about this, the list of 14. I guess it's the China's takeaway menu on what we've done wrong, and I guess we can choose whatever number we want from the menu and talk about it. Fire away.
Well, that's right. I mean, look, it may not be tasty, but actually it is kind of amusing that the Chinese, or the Chinese Communist Party, we should say, has taken this blustering attitude towards China, and they are very, very cross with us indeed. And, there's all these warnings that China is angry and don't make China an enemy because we'll be your enemy. And it's blustering bully boy tactics. And when you look at the list, it's everything from not letting them build our 5G communications infrastructure to, as you said before, asking, little questions like, hey, what happened exactly with that coronavirus, and why did you do things like, say, lockdown travel in mainland China while letting everybody from China fly around the world and infect the globe with it? But really what it comes down to is they're angry at our think tanks, they're angry at our media, they're angry at our government, they're angry that we have not decided to simply let them suborn our parliament, shut down criticism of China in the press, and that we still talk about the Enlightenment, Greece, and Rome rather than the shining light of Xi Jinping.
Exactly. The question is how, without having to deploy your own troops to places that have little, I won't say none, little national interest for the United States, how do you combat the CCP?
I don't know that we really know yet. I think it takes a whole of government approach that we're not at, but we're all right. Tell us.
You have to go back to where the power is being projected from, and the line is take down the CCP. Right? It's not push them back out of Africa and just allow them to come back again. It's you have to.
Would
you advocate stronger? Because right now in the unrestricted warfare, you have information war, which is cyber, you have economic war. Would you advocate stronger, actually confrontation, direct confrontation with the Chinese Communist Party financially? Cut them off from the dollar, sanction their banks, sanction their individuals, do what we're doing to the mullahs to the 10th power. Because right now you can see with Beijing, Pakistan, Iran, Turkey, and Russia, there's a coordinated effort to control the Eurasian landmass, right, and push us off and take, destroy our allies or co-opt them. In addition, that's the old geopolitics of territory. There's also a geopolitics of new technologies where you see that they're very advanced, and quite frankly, our tech oligarchs, which I know you're at the forefront of trying to rein in, the tech oligarchs are essentially kowtowing to them. That's why we have a firewall here in the United States. Every bit as tough as a firewall.
But Bill Clinton told us that China wouldn't be able to control the internet, that would be like nailing Jell-O to the wall. Well, it turns out they nailed that damn Jell-O to the wall in China. And technology just means you're able to do more with less. And in many ways, that can make authoritarianism more efficient and more effective. But I don't believe I answered Raheem's question adequately. And I think that where China beats us in a lot of these places is their pitch is we have cash now. And so if you're a despot, if you're a dictator in some godforsaken land and they show up with suitcases full of cash, you don't care about the long-term impact on your country because you're not really a patriot. You're just there to have regime preservation. And America comes in and says, well, we're the best friend in the world if you have big debt problems because we can go and kind of fend off your creditors better than anybody. And that presupposes that people have a longer-term view than they actually do.
Well, no, America goes in and they say, hey, we'll make your country's institutions better and give you good governance structures. And these guys, they laugh in their face. They go, I don't care about that.
But you also
have patriotism the way you have patriotism.
You're in answering Raheem's question, you're saying that the Chinese going with cash. He says Chinese are going with cash for third world. Chinese are in cash here in this city and in Wall Street. I mean, the influence peddling of the Chinese, Latin America. You made one of the most one of the smartest comments about these hearings that were going on.
Someone from a certain law enforcement agency looked through Wang Jian's video and audio recordings in his cell phone. And he said, Miles, should the content of this cell phone be released to the public? I can tell you that all of the CCP's officials in Hainan province and their officials in the civil aviation sector, financial sector, many local officials and influential people who collaborated with HNA in their projects. He said the Chinese people will eat them alive. Not to mention the rest of the CCP. The rest are even more scandalous. I asked, why do you think this is the case? He said, Brother Seven, your strategy was brilliant. You didn't release the information too early. If you want to take down the CCP by releasing that, people will go on the streets and stay on the streets. I'll give you an example. A real estate project in Shanxi province. In Wang Jian's own words, in one of his videos, he clearly stated that he knew that he was going to be killed. By the time you see this video, I may no longer be of this world. I will tell you how this Shanxi project came to be. He then said which Central Party officials told him to start. How were the officials' illegitimate children involved in it? This project, from planning to acquiring land permit to construction, the whole package, dozens of retired CCP Central Committee members, local secretary of disciplinary committee, attorney generals, court judges, police chiefs were fully involved in it and divided the spoils. Wang Jian said the stock shares he handed out were equal to 600% of his company's total shares. How? His real estate company in Shanxi created several other companies. Each of these companies gave stock shares to various people, and in the end, when everyone came back to sell the shares, they suddenly realized all of their documents were forged. Everyone helped to take loans from banks. He said even if the project was sold at 10 times the market price, it would still not be enough to pay the bank loans. The Bank of Baotou in this project, I think right after they had the business dinner with the senior CCP officials, they took 10 billion RMB directly. Another 20 billion RMB were directly taken out of another local bank. You can find all this information on the internet. A certain top executive of the PBOC coordinated an effort himself and wrote checks for 80 billion RMB. Before this real estate project even got started, over 100 billion RMB were gone. Where did all this money go? Less than 10% of it went into the actual project. The rest were directly taken by them.
Mexico tops 100,000 coronavirus deaths. Japan's COVID-19 cases hit new record. Domestic travel campaign suspended in some areas. Donald Trump Jr., President Donald Trump's eldest son, has tested positive for the coronavirus. High chance Singapore-Hong Kong air travel bubble may be suspended if Hong Kong COVID-19 situation continues. China suggests Italy may be the birthplace of COVID-19 pandemic. China starts mass testing 3 million in Tianjin for COVID-19. The head of the International Air Transport Association, IATA, says airlines need another $80 billion in aid to survive. Bitcoin climbs to 3-year peak, all-time high in focus.
Dear mama, are you okay over there? Your son is crying and missing you, and sees you in his dreams. You sent take down the CCP, cause it's God's will, it's God's will. So I'll wait for you, and I'll see you when we end the CCP, yeah. So